As the sun starts to peek its head over the Texas horizon and clouds linger in the air, we get ready to go racing for round 2, Toyota GR Cup North America at the Grand Prix of Arlington. DJ Clark alongside Jonathan Grace. Amanda Busick will be joining us in the pit lane in a little bit. Jonathan, a little bit of different conditions than we had yesterday and a very different time of day. There's our track conditions. What do you make of it?
Well, the sun has just come up, DJ, over the streets of Arlington, and I think what a way to kick off what's been already a pretty exceptional weekend across the board. We saw the green flag running that we did get yesterday prove to be action-packed, especially at the sharp end of the field between pole sitter Jeremy Fletcher and Spike Kohlbecker, who came out on top. I suspect we'll see much the same today because it's the usual suspects in those two who are at the sharp end of the grid.
Yeah, Jeremy Fletcher and Spike Kohlbecker up at the front. We're going to have to see exactly how they sort themselves out, hoping for a little bit of less running today, or a little bit more running today, rather, as we take a look at AT&T Stadium and bring in our third member of our commentary team, Amanda Busick, who's down on the grid.
Hey guys, and good morning to our Toyota racing fans, both here in Arlington and those that are joining us on the stream across the world. Oh my goodness, what conditions we have this morning. Luckily, Toyota gave me a hat to go with the high wind advisory that is here in Arlington this morning. We were told it could be up to gust up to 50 miles per hour. So the organizers did decide to move our race up. Actually, it's not even sunrise yet. At 7:39 a.m. local is when the sunrise comes, and that's where the conditions and the concern may lie. I was talking to Spike Kohlbecker. You can see it. He's got his window net up now, but we were going to speak to him. You'll see a little tape on the top of his helmet. What teams are worried about is visibility under the bridge heading into 8. They're concerned about sunrise conditions heading into that. I was talking to some of the other teams out here, and they were saying to us, hey guys, welcome to your first night race. But as the tuggers and everyone got out here, everyone had their cell phones out, everyone's smiling. We're excited for these conditions and to see what's going to happen as we get this race undone. But as we get started, we're almost super close to the words that everyone wants to hear in motorsports, and the guy doing it is Matt Williamson from Indaba.
Thank you very much. Good morning. What a difference a day makes. Gentlemen, please start your engines.
No better sound in the world than those GR Cup cars starting to fire up here as they go. That is Spike Kohlbecker up in the lead of the field. Watch for this driver, though, Max Schweid. I saw some good things out of him yesterday, but the driver I think we've really got to keep our eye on, for me at least, is that one, Will Robusto, who had a lot of good running. Minimizing those mistakes, he would have been up for a potential win.
I completely agree. He's someone we got to talk to a little bit yesterday before the race. He said he is a focus forward. It's a full championship mindset for Will Robusto right from the get-go. Today is no exception. He wants to leave Arlington with a little bit of hardware of some kind just to solidify his place in that championship fight. I'm also looking out for number 5, Beltray Curtis. Was held up a little bit with an early incident on lap 1. He's got a lot of pace. He's done a lot of testing and running in the offseason, and he's made a big jump.
Let's go ahead and take a look at that starting grid before we get any further along. As we mentioned, Jeremy Fletcher and Spike Kohlbecker going to be starting up in the front. They were the two protagonists from yesterday. Behind them, it's Beltray Curtis and Max Schweid. Curtis looking for a good run today. Parker DeLong and Will Robusto make up row 3. Then in row 4, it's Malbec Ramos and Jensen Sofronis. Malbec, the closest, highest up rookie that we have in the field. Michael Edwards is P9, and Ethan Goulart will be P10.
Absolutely. Liam Harrison running under Black Dog Racing, new team on the grid. He's starting 11th. Ryan Power in 14th with Joseph Miley just ahead of him. Maite Cesaris, a good qualifying mid-pack in 15th. Patrick Brunson is 16th. On the 9th row of the grid, Nathan Dupuis in 17th position with Massimo Sanseri under the BSI banner in 18th. Delario in the 007 car in 19th. We go one row back to row 11. Jay Thomas and Arahulio in the number 77 car. Jason Kose in 23rd with Carter Wilson in the 24th position. 25, Jeff Curry starting 26th. They're listed starting 26th, but not taking the start is Peyton Fan after damage yesterday. Paul Wilson, same story there, listed as the final starter on the grid. DJ.
Yeah, and that was a couple of those incidents that we saw. There was a lot of bumping and banging that we really took a look at through turn 4 through turn 8. Kind of surprised me that we saw as much side-by-side action as we did through that area of the track. And as we heard a little bit earlier, going down into turn 8 now, going to be some real concerns about that sunrise when it does begin to peak over the Texas horizon.
Absolutely. Just looking at the pink in the sky and the clouds coming just behind AT&T Stadium, it's gorgeous, but that's got to be so tricky as the sun is changing, because every single lap you come around, the sun's going to be in a different position. And there's that spectator bridge, or rather I should say the hospitality suite bridge between that very short run. And so the sun's going to surprise you. It's not like you have a gentle lead into it. You're going to come out from under that bridge, boom, there's the sun, and you have to focus on your braking point and nailing the apex right before arguably the most crucial corner on the track in 9.
Yeah, and as we saw, the draft going to come into big play in that turn 9 area. Drivers making their way down into turn 12 right now. A little bit of a bump there on the apex, as you had pointed out a little bit earlier, but we are going to be coming to the green flag this time by. This is the back straightaway, or the almost front straightaway, medium straightaway, let's call it, on Cowboys Way between turn 13 and 14. Kohlbecker in the blue, Fletcher in the black. They will lead the field down through turn 14 as we look towards Lorraine McCauley, senior client partner for Endava, as she waves the green flag and we go racing for the second time here in Arlington. Some moves farther in the back. It's side by side between Kohlbecker and Fletcher. Fletcher to the outside, trying to be able to hold that position as they go left, right, left through the first couple of corners, and it's still side by side up for the lead of the race. Gonna paver back to Kohlbecker here. Farther back in the field, they are Noah Zarkantz, marching all the way back to about 16th place.
DJ, in cooler conditions, we thought that the track would have to warm up a little bit, but they're still side by side, and finally Spike Kohlbecker just a nose ahead, but Jeremy Fletcher changing up the line just a little bit, trying to set up a move before the back straight.
Max Schweid settles into third place. A couple of drivers a little bit wide going down into turn number 4. Now they, or turn number 5 rather, now they go through the horseshoe, turn 6, trying to keep things together. We saw varying lines down in this part of the track, but it is a funnel. Everybody getting back into single file order. Big move farther back in the field. That is the number 3 of Zach Hollingshead, making up some positions over Edwards for 11th place.
Pay attention to him too, racing under his own flag for the first time this year. After being associated with PT Autosport, we saw a lot of moves from the 3-car yesterday.
Yeah, we did, and he's running a partial schedule this year for the moment. Will, as I understand, maybe loan that car out to other drivers if they want to, but slated for a partial schedule. Down the back straightaway, they go 9/10 of a mile. The longest straightaway in North America in current conditions. And here comes Jeremy Fletcher looking for an outside move on Spike Kohlbecker. Kohlbecker holding defensive down into turn 1. Fletcher has to give up the ghost farther back in the field. That's a good move for Jensen Sofronis.
A lot of curb taken by Spike Kohlbecker in defense there. Jeremy Fletcher doing a nice job of being patient. The risk you run if you make a pass too early is the driver you made the move on could slip back in to the draft and be at risk of repassing you once you slam on the brakes, but nicely timed there from Fletcher.
Hollingshead going a little bit defensive there on Edwards. I think worried about a bit of a crossover that could set him up at a disadvantage. Now Schweid taking a little bit of a look on the back of Fletcher. Thinking about it, there was Beltray Curtis in that Copeland Motorsports machine as well. Seeing about a 5-car breakaway up at the front of the field.
Yeah, Will Robusto trying to get in on the mix as well, and Beltray Curtis bringing up the rear. This is a perfect position to be in for Max Schweid. You have the leaders fighting. That could open up a gap because Kohlbecker's not only going to have to defend from Fletcher, but Schweid is going to try to come with him.
Exactly. Well, as compared to yesterday, we're able to get through the first lap relatively cleanly, at least clean enough that we don't have a yellow flag, so we're going to be able to see just how these drivers do at full chat. Out of turn 3, straight away down into turn 4. It continues to be Kohlbecker in the lead. Jensen Sofronis trying to keep pace here with Beltray Curtis for the top 5. That's going to be a tricky area for him. I think he's going to want to stay in line. There's that multitude of lines that we talked about down to Max Schweid. Here they go, down through 7, ready into 8. This is that area of the track where you got to start worrying about the sunrise.
No, absolutely. I think it's going to get worse and probably be at its worst in the last couple of laps. We see a bag just dodge. That can cause cooling problems later on if that gets lodged in that front cooling, that front radiator space. But no issues there. you talked about the line variation. Look how much paint they're using in 9. We see through the carousel in 6. I was talking to some of the guys in some of the open wheel series we're seeing race this weekend. They say, surprisingly, the paint and the painted sections in Sector 1, some of the grippiest parts of the track, grippier even than some of the asphalt.
Well, I had a chance to talk to a few people about that because I wondered the same thing. Now, that paint is a special paint. It's FIA graded, and it contains sand particles.
Oh, wow.
And that's why it's able to be so grippy. It's very similar. I think this was rolled out at Paul Ricard at one point, and they use it in runoff situations there to try to slow the car down. But that is the type of paint that it's used. That's why it is the way that it is. All right, we now have, let's call it, 6-car breakaway up front of the field. Ramos and Parker DeLong trying to hold in as best as possible to not let this 6-car train really break away off into the distance. Look for mine for Jeremy Fletcher. But this is much as we saw yesterday, just kind of staying in line for the moment and seeing if they are able to force a mistake out of the driver in front of you.
It's an impressive thing to see all of these drivers break away. Jenson Sofronis, though, is very quickly joining this conversation. Boy, what a leap he's made from last year as a driver. I know in speaking with some of the Copeland folks, they were singing his praises, how hard he was working in the offseason to try to progress himself and his skill as a driver. Obviously, he'll be learning from his dad as well as some of the other talented folks under the GMG tent. But car looks great in the Mobil 1 livery, and Jenson, a very mature drive yesterday. I suspect we'll see much the same today, but I'm curious to see where Jeremy Fletcher is thinking about throwing a move. We saw that little sniff into 14. That would have been a very late dive. I'm curious if he was just trying to maybe force Spike into a little bit of a mistake, but we get here now down into that short run for turn 8 before they hit the brakes for 9. We'll see if he's going to try to time another move. Spike has gone defensive to the inside on the last couple of laps.
As we continue to watch this battle for the lead, we throw it down to Amanda Busick on pit lane.
We're right here in Women's History Month. We have 3 females competing here this weekend. One of those is Maite Caceres racing under the Rafa Racing banner. And her driver coach is your 2023 champion in Toyota GR Cup, Tyler Gonzalez. And incredible that it's been 3 years from then. But what have you said to your driver so far this morning?
Just in general, you know, it's a new track for everybody. It looks like it races really well, but we're here to keep it clean. Maite's doing a great job. His first time in the car was first practice, so she's progressed a lot for sure, and we just want to keep building on her pace and chipping off on these female driver points through the rest of the year.
As I said, the 2023 champion. How much did this series mean to your growth as a driver?
Yeah, I mean, it was super fun to race back then, and there's a lot of talent that's came through this series, so getting to race with the 2025 champion, Weston Workman, this year in the SRO GT4 category. So super excited about that, to continue with Rafa Motorsports, with Rafa Racing, Toyota, and Weston. It's going to be a fun season for sure.
Maite looks really sporty out there. Any hopes or expectations for her this season?
Yeah, I mean, we definitely want to be the highest finishing female every race. I think is a good goal for her. She's a really good driver. These cars are new to her, but she seems to be taking to them very well.
Thank you, Tyler. And just quick on conditions, winds are picking up here, guys. And in addition, we're still waiting on that sun to peak on the track here.
Well, what we don't have to wait for is racing action as the battle for second place fired off. Jeremy Fletcher going a little bit wide down into turn 13, and that opened up the door for the likes of Robusto, Schweid, and Beltray Curtis. Fletcher shuffled down to 5th, and this is frankly bad news for the rest of the field as Tech Sport Racing's Spike Kolbecker able to set the fastest lap of the race and get a little bit of a gap in front. Aggressive move. Farther in the back there, I have to say, the 22 of Jeremy Fletcher making a move on Beltray Curtis down to the inside. Let's take a look at the replay of what happened here, Jonathan.
Yeah, here it is. You can see trying to outbrake him to the outside. And then look how close he gets to the rear bumper. I think they might have made a little bit of contact, and he would have lifted off the throttle just a smidge. Sitting right behind was Will Robusta, who's capitalized. He's fallen a few car lengths back. Jeremy Fletcher already trying to make his way back up the order. You mentioned that aggressive move on Beltray Curtis, using that grippy paint. He went just straight under him on the inside of 6.
Yeah, and we haven't seen that a whole lot in the horseshoe necessarily, but certainly Curtis showing that it can be done. Focusing a little bit farther back in the field, this is a 3-car breakaway coming back up to the front. Sofronis under pressure here from the number 17 of Ramos. And now Sofronis feeling the need to go hyper defensive down on the run into turn 12. A little bit of a look there for Schweid. Sofronis very, very defensive. Ramos trying to carry speed around the outside behind them. That's going to be Parker DeLong in the yellow and orange, or the white and orange machine, holding that up as that triptych goes down into the corner. A little bit of a flash of the headlights. All is normal up front, but Sofronis is going to hold the line. DeLong is just able to get that position away there from Ramos.
Hard to believe, Jensen Sofronis, for his age, this is a very mature drive. It's very easy in those situations to get flustered behind the wheel, to make a mistake under braking on your own or make a move in reaction. He set up his defense, he declared early, he did all the things that you're supposed to do as a driver. We're going to get another look at it here. Look how far to the inside he is here, and then DeLong, you can see the 42 just starting to close the door on Ramos a little bit. Again, respectful, nothing untoward. That's the good hard racing you like to see.
Yeah, and that's really good car awareness there from Parker DeLong. Ooh, sending moves up into turn 5. I didn't think that was possible.
Does he go inside here again? He thought about it, but good in defense there from the 98 of Max Schweid.
Yeah, Schweid being very heads up. Fletcher now takes a little bit of a look down into the inside of turn 7. You're not really going to have a run here into 8, but he may be able to set something up. All this scrapping farther in the back is a big defensive fade there from Schweid, and he's going to cut off the nose of Jeremy Fletcher, but Fletcher's able to take a more optimal line through turn 9, and that should set him up nicely in the draft down this long back straightaway.
But right behind him, Beltray Curtis is going to wait to try to go with him as well. We could get a 2-for-1 special here. Max Schweid is going to have his hands full. Already fades to the inside as they go through that little left-right switchback. Look how far to the inside Schweid is. Fletcher has clearly declared himself on the outside. Now door-to-door. They're going to be level pegging as they hit the brakes, and Fletcher might just be a nose ahead, DJ.
Is he going to be able to shut the door? No, he's not. Schweid later on the binders down into turn 10, and picture perfect makes the defense stick. Forced there Fletcher to try to look to the inside, which he immediately cut off. He is making Fletcher take suboptimal lines in this defense. It's allowing for Schweid to get off into the front of the field. DeLong is able to get a nice pass there on Jensen Sofronis, but the action really heating up from about third on back.
Well, if this keeps going, DeLong and Sofronis are going to come right up to the back of the group. Look at the huge move. You can hear the squeal of the Continental tires as Fletcher thinks back of it and kinks the steering wheel back to the left-hand side to make the corner into 14.
Taking a look at the replay, there is that move just later on the binders. It's as simple as that for Max Schweid. He was able to hold the brakes earlier, or get on the brakes later and make that defense work. My only concern at this point is that he may be driving a little over defensive.
He might, and we'll see if Fletcher's able to force him into a move and reaction. The last thing you want to do is get the stewards involved. It's been good, clean racing so far from our vantage point, but we'll see what comes later on. Fletcher now trying to force Schweid to the inside, goes defensive again, but he's trying moves in every part of the lap, and this is where if you're Max Schweid, you have to be careful about not driving too much in your mirrors, even though there's a lot of pressure behind as they go 3 wide through the carousel.
Parker DeLong trying to make a move there, trying to go 2-for-1 on Fletcher and Curtis. He's going to not be able to do it, and I think lost a position as a result of all of that. A little bit of a brake smoke up in front. Schweid continues to hold out, then Fletcher, then Beltray Curtis, then Parker DeLong. Come onto the back straightaway here. DeLong's going to be getting the best draft out of any of them in this 4-car battle. Waiting to see here. Schweid down to the inside. Again, defensive line. He knows Fletcher gets a good run off of turn 9. Let's see if he's able to get anything to play down into turn 10. 9/10 of a mile. They blast down. Oh, we've got a big piece of debris off to the inside that looks like a little bit of fender liner. But here comes Fletcher to the outside again. Will Schweid be able to be later on the brakes once more? Not nearly as late this time. Fletcher matches him brake force for brake force, and they're side by side on the run into 11.
God, that was beautifully done by both drivers. Masterful. Both trying to be latest on the brakes, and they are still door-to-door as they come out of this run on before they make the the little right-hand kink onto 11 and then slam the brakes for 12. Max Schweid finally going to get the move done, but boy, he had to work for it.
I mean, Schweid just running a defensive masterclass here. This is an impressive run for him. Fletcher looking, not able to get it done. Big move for Sofronis in the pack, just able to get to the outside there of Parker DeLong. Is he going to have space to slot into line? Yes, he is. Good move for Jensen Sofronis into 6th.
Yeah, really, really smart. DeLong got past him a couple of laps ago, and he just hung with him on the back, and he waited for the battle ahead to slow everybody up, use that to his advantage. And here goes Fletcher to the inside.
Oh, there was definitely a little bit of contact there. Smoke coming off, and Fletcher gets the position. I can't imagine Schwein's going to be happy about that, but it opens up the door for Beltray Curtis as well.
And meanwhile, just up the road, Real Robusto, who is now 7.3 seconds off of the lead, but behind, this is where all the action is.
Yeah, as he tries to hold on. They come down through the horseshoe now. Fletcher back up into podium positions. Beltray Curtis has followed him on through. Schweid, narrower line. Is this battle really stretching all the way back to about Tech Sport Racing's Ramos in this clump of cars?
And there's hardware up for grabs. This is for the 3rd position overall on the road. Jeremy Fletcher holds it at the moment, but Beltray Curtis, what can he do? We've talked about him all weekend long. Max Schweid has been a threat too, but now he's going to have to go offensive. But Jensen Sofronis behind is still charging. Here they go, down that long straight. A little bit of a gap ahead for Jeremy Fletcher. Beltray Curtis trying to maximize the draft as Fletcher already a tad defensive to the inside. We'll see which way Curtis goes under braking.
I'm going to be interested to see what Fletcher does here. We saw the hyper defensive lines from Schweid, and that clearly ran out at some point. Gotta give credit here, Will Robusto. That gap was 2.3 seconds up to your leader of Spike Kohlbecker as they crossed over the Sector 2 line. That gap has come down by 3/10. So Robusto starting to mount a little bit of a challenge here with 30 minutes left to go.
Absolutely, you should be able to see that battle for 3rd just come into pictures. Top of your screen there, lead car, the black Copeland machine, is Jeremy Fletcher with Beltray Curtis just behind. Max Schweid about 2 car lengths back, but there's Jensen Sofronis with DeLong, and this whole train of cars could get very mixed up if they start to go 2 and even 3 wide.
And remember, these are teammates battling for 3rd. Fletcher and Curtis both driving for that Copeland Motorsports camp. And rule number 1 of racing, wreck your teammates, so that's what they're going to be hoping not to do.
They're about 5 seconds right now behind Will Robusto, who's still trying to take away time. Just over 2 seconds behind leader Spike Kohlbecker. Holding station for now. There was a lot of action, and there's something to be said, DJ, with 30 minutes left in this race. If you're fighting already at the sharp end of the field, of course you want to move forward as much as possible, but you don't want to make any silly or rash moves. You want to be smart. You need to finish the race first and foremost. Study your opponent, see where you might be a little bit faster, and then apply that in a lap or 2 and try to make a move.
Well, and I think for a lot of these drivers, Fletcher, Curtis, Schwein, Sofronis, those that we kind of had earmarked and circled for championship potential, you've got to think about the long term here. As you said, you don't want to throw away the race and get a big goose egg on the day. Take 4th place points, take 5th place points. They could come in crucial by the end of the season.
They could, and a lot of these guys will have raced with Weston Workman last year, and they saw him do that, I think, better than anybody. There were certain weekends, by his own admission, where he said, we just weren't the fastest car, but we might have been the smartest in maximizing the potential and the package that we did have. And over the course of the season, that paid dividends in the form of a championship. Of course, the 6 wins didn't hurt his opportunity as well. He was mighty quick, but on the weekends where he wasn't the fastest on pace, he might have been the smartest.
Watching Robusto again here, he's got that gap down. He gained about 2/10. He's continuing to go and continuing to just shave off a little bit of time. 28 minutes left to go. I don't know if this is going to be enough to close it in, but he's starting to apply more and more pressure. Gap comes down again, 1.8 seconds now. Farther back in the field, side by side, Schwein down to the inside of Curtis.
And Curtis, they're still door to door as they go, and they're slowest at their minimum apex speed. Beltray Curtis still hanging on the outside. All of a sudden, Jensen Sofronis now on the tail of Max Schweid, too. They might be too wide under braking. Beltray Curtis now having to defend from 2 cars at the same time. Sofronis trying to hang around the outside. The 98 of Schweid shuts the door, and they hop back in line, but it's Beltray Curtis now who can set his sights on Jeremy Fletcher.
Sofronis looking for a gutsy move into turn 1. No, he's going to fall back into line there, but this is allowed for Parker DeLong to close back up into this battle. The battle for P4, as Jeremy Fletcher has been able to stretch his legs a little bit in front of this. Gets a gap here of about a second in front of the rest of this field, call it 1.3, so he's got a little bit of breathing room.
Yeah, this is where if you're Fletcher right now, don't look in the mirrors. Focus forward, settle back into your racing routine and get into a rhythm. Try to reel in Robusto, and the 55 is just barely in the barriers, keeps it going. That nearly could have been a larger stoppage as the 55 files in. That's Harrison doing a good job of trying to keep it out of the wall.
Yeah, good running there for them, but we go down to Amanda Busick, who's got some news on the number 21 machine.
Yeah, you're going to take a look at 14-year-old Michael Edwards. He's the son of Hall of Fame NASCAR driver Carl Edwards. I do have my RF camera on where I think Carl is spotting on the track. He's on the roof of one of the hotels that lines the track here. We do have a caution coming, guys. I'll head back to you to finish the story.
All right, that's Massimo Sanseri, it looks like. That car has been off into the barriers as we do indeed get a full course yellow. And there you see that machine. We'll try to get an idea of exactly what that is and what happened. But that looks to be in the first sector, I believe.
It does. We'll have to wait for a different camera angle as well. But Race Control doing the smart thing, slowing everybody down. Very nearly had an incident before with Liam Harrison. You can see the brake rotors glowing orange as he kept it out of the barrier. Here's a replay. Massimo just going a little bit long into the runoff and grinding to a halt. That might have been something beyond damage.
I did see that left side mirror was folded in. Let's stay here for a second. I want to just keep an eye. See, it's folded in there.
Sure is.
I can't tell if there's any damage. There's oh, look at the front. There is a little bit of wear and tear there, as well as on the right-hand side of the car.
Yeah, that could have been contact. We see the front bumper has peeled away from its mounting points on both sides just below the headlights. It's been visible black marking its telltale tire rub from presumably another car. The marshals doing their best to get this out of the way with the AMR safety crew on hand, some of the best in the business.
Yeah, it looks like that car is just dead stick right now.
Yeah.
So let's take a look at the back of the car as they wheel it around.
Just the tiniest bit of damage to the left-hand side right below the left tail light, but that bumper is pretty intact. I didn't see a ton of damage.
And, you know, I'm not going to lie, that looked relatively normal for a GR Cup race. A little bit of wear and tear on the bumpers, so potentially a mechanical issue there for Massimo. That is unfortunate, though, as he was looking to have a good race here today, running up in that top 15 or so. But Sanseri out of the race as the safety car brings this field around. And this is the worst news here for Spike Kohlbecker, who had built up that big gap. But I think the ones who are licking their chops right now, as you can see, Fletcher to the inside taking a look. But Robusto and Fletcher, this is good news for them.
Yeah, Jeremy Fletcher, as if he needed any more reminding Will Robusto that he is there, popping into his passenger side, right-hand side wing mirror to let him know that that black Copeland machine is coming. This completely resets everything, DJ. When we go green, presumably with about 20-ish minutes to go, it's all hands on deck, because all of a sudden, some of the drivers that might have been in 5th, 6th, or 7th place, they're now looking at a podium, potentially.
Yeah, they're going to be able to fight their way and get their way into that position. And now we're going to have to see Kohlbecker do a lot more of what we saw him do yesterday with Jeremy Fletcher, and that is play some defense to try to make sure he is able to be in good stead. Want to give a shout out. We mentioned Zach Hollingside a little bit earlier, running that independent entry in 9th, really good. My take is in pit lane right now. Not sure what that is about.
She was running solidly mid-pack, qualified 15th yesterday, I believe 17th for this race. Was doing a nice job in her first weekend in this series. Amanda was talking with Rafa Racing about her earlier in the show. We'll get an update on that as we have it. Unsure if that's related in any way to the BSI Racing drivers' issues. And there's a look at Maite's car now. Some definite damage on that left-hand side, and the mechanics in there just trying to peel things loose to see if we can give that Continental tire a little bit of freedom to rub.
Yeah, I wonder if that was a tire rub issue there for them. Is it? Yeah, I've got a sneaking suspicion that's exactly what it is, going with the crowbar, just trying to lift those pieces up and out of the way to avoid tire rub.
Remember, these are effectively factory bumpers as well.
Lights out on the Toyota GR Supra safety car. Spike Kohlbecker will lead us around to green. Will Robusto, Jeremy Fletcher, Beltroy Curtis, and Max Schweid, your top 5. As Kohlbecker gets on the loud pedal, Robusto going to be close in behind him as they've crossed the start-finish line with about 22 minutes left to go in this race. Single file down into turns 1, 2, and 3.
One of the hardest things to do as a racing driver is contend with a restart. Spike Kohlbecker was able to take the lead and get it under green flag conditions yesterday, hold it as the field fell under yellow, but now he's having to deal with a restart on a circuit he wasn't familiar with just 3 days ago, and he's got a heck of a driver in Will Robusto and a heck of a pilot in Jeremy Fletcher behind.
Surprisingly, no moves into turn 4. Everybody keeping relatively calm, cool, and collected. They'll now work their way into turns 5 and 6. Robusto taking that sort of alternate line, as was Max Schweid. That tight line through the horseshoe. I think really through there, Jonathan, it's a little bit of pick your poison. I mean, none of it seems to gain or lose speed. It's just what you're most comfortable with.
Well, and that's really fun, too, because you can see, in theory, cars go side by side there. You can see moves there, and you're not going to lose any positioning setting up for turn 7 or 8. And that really doesn't hurt you at all getting into the crucial run down to 9.
Yeah, exactly, and that's the most crucial part. You mentioned it off the top of the broadcast that turn 9 run, one of the most important. Here's Beltray Curtis and Max Schweid. This is the battle for P4. Curtis to the outside, and that is Schweid to the inside. Watching on hungrily is Jensen Sofronis. A little bit of a look to the inside for Fletcher. Could we see a little bit of a bump here for Jensen Sofronis? He says no. Big move for the lead. Robusto to the point.
Yeah, and he hung that out, and he declared himself to the inside nice and early. And all of a sudden, Jeremy Fletcher wants to go with him. We could get a 2-for-1 special here.
And Fletcher's going to follow Robusto on through. Kohlbecker trying to hold on best he can. Kohlbecker loses 2 positions. Jensen Sofronis gains 1. And here comes the 5 machine of Beltray Curtis losing positions hand over fist as Parker DeLong's also gotten by.
And now Jeremy Fletcher's having to go defensive. Spike Kohlbecker pops to the outside. And they're all 3 in different positions under the braking zone. You can get a move done there, but you have to be careful. Beltray Curtis still hanging it on the outside.
And you don't want contact there coming down through turn 14 and 15 as it really narrows up through that portion of the track. Here they come. Now starting a new lap with a new leader, Will Robusto, the first time he has led this season. Jeremy Fletcher second, Spike Kohlbecker third. Max Schweid looks like he's got a little bit of a reprieve from that battle for P4.
If you're Spike Kohlbecker right now, DJ, in third position, take a deep breath, focus forward. Don't worry about the drivers behind. As easy as that would be to do, set your sights on trying to pick off the 2 drivers in front if you want to get back to the front of this field. But he's going to have a heavy task because Will Robusto has spent the entire first half of this race trying to reel in Kohlbecker, and now he's finally to the point.
Yeah, and Kohlbecker definitely looking maybe a little bit worse for wear here, not close to the back of Jeremy Fletcher, and indeed having to play a little bit more defense than offense with Schweid.
Yeah, he certainly is. I was going to say Schweid was just about pushing him through turn 8. Curious to see if he's going to try anything as they set up down through 9, cutting that corner on that grippy paint. And a little bit of a separation there for Kohlbecker. He got a nice drive off the corner, but up front, Jeremy Fletcher seems glued to the back of Will Robusto, fading just a little bit to the outside, DJ. Where is he going to try to make a move?
He's thinking about the outside as Robusto blocks off that inside as much as possible, planting the car in the middle of the track. Now Fletcher commits to that move to the outside. No, comes back into line. Robusto defensive as defensive can be. Fletcher has nowhere to go but the outside line, but he's going to carry momentum through the corner as they get the crossover. Fletcher in challenge for the lead.
We haven't really seen the switchback there at turn 12 in many of the series this weekend, and he made it work.
And here comes Spike Kohlbecker now down to the inside of Robusto. Pokes a nose in, but backs out of it. Robusto now the one who gets the better drive off of turn 12, and we've got another car off into the wall here. I can't get a number ID. Is that the 57 by chance?
It might be.
It's the 85, excuse me. That looks like it is Schlitz.
It is Ava Schlitz. Oh.
Also involved in that is the 90 there of Wilson.
Innocent bystander, must be said. Both got a little bit wide and squirrely. It's so easy if a driver goes off in front of you to lock your eyes on where they are. You call it target fixation. It's kind of like snowboarding or skateboarding. The car is going to go where the eyes go. And fortunately for Schlitz, hit the wall, and the 90 went just a little bit with her. And as Schlitz rebounded off the concrete just that little bit, it looked like a little front left damage to the 90 further up the road.
Yeah, and they certainly just I think there for Schlitz, it was really a situation where maybe got on the throttle a little bit too early, understeered off to the outside of the corner, and you saw the results.
Yeah, it's unfortunate as well because we had just gone green too. But the person this helps most in my mind is Spike Kohlbecker, right? You were starting to lose a little bit of ground. You were coming under pressure from Max Schweid to hang on to that podium position when you were leading the field. All of a sudden, he's right back in the conversation when we go green with just a couple minutes to go.
All right, as they work their way under safety car conditions, I do assume this is going to take a minute, mainly for just how much debris we saw on the track. We are getting confirmation on our timing and scoring screen that Wilson and Schlitz are both stopped, so I would have to assume there that Wilson just came to a stop a little bit farther on from the scene of the incident. As we take a look under caution here, we go down to Amanda Busick, who I believe has caught up with a very familiar name in the paddock, that being Tony Gaples.
Hey guys, yeah, I have caught up with Tony Gaples. There is a black dog entry here this season, racing with Liam Harrison, the nephew of Tony Gaples, and he's been very measured about this coming into a racing career, saying that he wants to just learn race by race, hopefully sneak in a top 10. He's running 12th. How proud are you?
Oh, very proud. He's a pilot, so I think there's a lot of synergy going on with driving and flying.
Well, you're busy enough already on the weekends. Now are you going to be a team owner in Toyota GR Cup? How are you going to manage the weekends for yourself, Tony?
Well, that's a good question. We haven't crossed that bridge yet, but I'll try and figure it out. I'll try and just be a driver.
Tony Gaples is a very familiar name in SRO America, running this season alongside Michael Cooper and Pirelli GT4. What are your expectations for your season?
We have high expectations. I think we were 12 points out of first last year, so 2 less mistakes, and it could be a championship.
I know we're going to get back to green here, but how has Liam been today? I know you're on the horn with him on that headset.
I missed that question.
How has Liam been today?
Oh, he's doing great. He slept well. He definitely has his head in the game, and we think he's going to move up a little further.
All right, guys, just a ton of stories that are in this paddock. I do want to quickly finish on Michael Edwards, as we were talking about. Carl Edwards spotting for his son here. I did talk to Michael ahead of the weekend. 14 years young and has lots of hopes ahead. I asked him why he didn't want to turn left, and he said, Amanda, I'm going to be an F1 driver. Said that he's constantly on the sim, constantly practicing. And I said, well, what do you do outside of racing? Smiled and said, not much.
The apple doesn't fall too far from the tree there in the Edwards clan. It certainly sounds like, although I love the confidence in the definitive nature of I'm going to be an F1 driver.
Absolutely. No, I mean, you know what? Sometimes to be successful in this industry, you have to think that way. I think everyone that's at the top end of this sport, in whatever series that is there because they truly believe it. I think that's a huge part of being successful in any series. You saw it mindset-wise, not to keep going back to Weston Workman, but a lot of his success came from his mindset. He set his mind to the fact that he was going to win this darn series, and boy, did he.
Yeah, and we've talked at length about the leadership qualities that I think he displayed last year as a result of leading that BSI team. By the way, BSI this time around, Araujo is in 19th. Ethan Goulart only a top 10 here. It's going to be a little bit disappointing for, I think, Ethan and them. I would expect them to be a little bit more aggressive, maybe a little bit more towards the front end of the field when we head to Sonoma in 2 weeks' time. As that will kick off the full SRO Motorsports Group America schedule. We head to Sonoma, and then very much as we have done in years past, we'll head over to Circuit of the Americas, then Sebring International Raceway in May. Very excited to make a triumphant return, I think, to Road Atlanta in June. That's going to be a great race. From Road Atlanta, we'll then head to Road America, and then, of course, we round out the season as we always do, that being with trips to Barber Motorsports Park and ending at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway for the Indy 8 Hour.
Yeah, it's a truly great calendar. You hit some of the biggest and most iconic racing venues throughout the United States. I'm really excited that we're going back to Road Atlanta. Personally, that's my favorite racetrack in the United States. But I think it's really cool, too, that we're starting here at the streets of Arlington. It allows GR Cup to kind of stand on its own, and folks from other series that may have not heard about it are able to see the talent in the racing and how close this field always is be put on full display. I think it's awesome that we're opening up racing action on Sunday here at the end of this weekend, starting things off with GR Cup right at sunrise. It's a pretty good way to lead into what's always a pretty fantastic weekend in Sonoma.
Yeah, and if you've never been part of an SRO Motorsports Group America weekend, what are you doing? You should make a way out and come out to our weekend. We race at this point 6 series, five or six races over the course of the weekend. GT World Challenge America, GT America, Pirelli GT4, TC America, Toyota GR Cup North America, and McLaren Trophy America. So 6 series that we are able to run. You get your money's worth for a race weekend like that. All right, back to green flag as the pace car lights are off. Jeremy Fletcher will now be the one to lead the field around to green. We saw him do this a couple of times yesterday. See where he decides to be able to get on that loud pedal. We saw him do it a little bit halfway through the corner if things are going to prove, and that's where he does there. Scampers off a little bit. Robusto able to keep pace behind him. Kohlbecker going to try to hold on to the back here. Then Schweid, Sofronis, DeLong, Curtis, Ramos, Hollingshead, and Goulart, your top 10.
Yeah, I think Robusto actually got a little bit better of a drive off the corner. I think Fletcher was just a little bit ambitious, and you can already see Robusto was just shoving him around this first section of the track. I'm curious to see if he's going to try to throw a move on a different line into turn 6 in that long sweeping carousel.
Yeah, so Power trying to make a little bit of a move to the inside. Not sure if that played out. Here comes a thought from Robusto. He certainly wanted to make that move down into turn 4, but decided against it, and that's going to allow for Kohlbecker to close on in side by side through the horseshoe. Here we go, Robusto and Fletcher. Will Robusto not waiting around?
No, and you saw Fletcher actually have to brush the brakes just to get the nose turned back in, and now Robusto just a bit of a nose ahead, but still door to door.
All right, he's going to be on the unpreferred line, but he carries good speed. Fletcher tries to shove him off as much as he can into the outside. Doesn't play. Robusto now falls back into line. Jensen Sofronis taking a little bit of a look on Max Schweid as they head onto the back straightaway.
Really good composure from Fletcher. He's now going to have to go defensive, but I love his work through 6. Realized that he was understeering a little bit, brushed the brakes to get the nose of that car tipped back in, and that's part of what kept him ahead. But now Will Robusto, as they're darn near banging mirrors with Kohlbecker in the mix as well. We're going to have a 3-car fight in the braking zone.
Robusto to the outside. Kohlbecker gets to choose his line as they come down into turn 10. That was in the back there. Schweid very wiggly. Fletcher later on the brakes. Kohlbecker down to the inside of Robusto. Parker DeLong being sent out to lunch there, and it looks like it's going to be Jensen Sofronis. Somehow they kind of end up the way that they went in, with the exception of Kohlbecker able to get by Robusto.
Yes, they did. Kohlbecker got a beautiful drive off the corner, waited to tuck the nose in.
Look at DeLong.
Oh boy, next to Max Schweid, they do make contact, but both keep it out of the wall, and another hit as they get back on the racing line.
Yep, that is an angry driver behind the wheel. I thought he was going to go for a 2-for-1 there. Super defensive line here for Max Schweid, trying to hold off any attack from Parker DeLong. That could open up the door for Sofronis. 3 wide, as that was Beltre Curtis trying to make hay.
It seems like every single lap Beltre Curtis is fighting, he finds himself on the outside of turn 14 with Sofronis now on his passenger side door. But they go 1, 2, 3, Fletcher, Kohlbecker, Robusto, and still fighting for 5th through 8th behind.
Oh my goodness, this is just electric action. Big contact there for Sofronis as he's got to wheel his way out of it. That's going to open up the door there for the number 3 of Zach Hollingshead. Where did he come from? He's in this battle now in the privateer entry.
Yeah, running under his own team with that beautiful white paint scheme, nice and simple under his own trailer, trying to make moves on the youngster early. Now he's going to dip the 3-car to the inside and set his sights on Curtis ahead as Sofronis keeps it out of the wall. Let's take another look. Look at Sofronis in that blue car, bounce all the way back. And that unsettles him just a little bit. Hollingshead able to keep the power applied a little bit more consistently, and that helped get him ahead.
Trying to be able to sort themselves out. Ramos now in the heat of the battle. That's Ethan Goulart ahead of them. Here we go down to the inside, one of those BSI entries that we talked about. I believe that's Power, as we've got a car spun around here. I think that's the 17. I couldn't get a perfect idea of the car, but we're going to have a local yellow, as I think they're still running.
kept it out of the wall, so if they can get that car looped around and rejoin the tail of the field, we should stay green with just under 7.5 to go, as everybody, or the chunk of the field rather, has hit the back straight.
There's that piece, that fender liner that we saw. Ooh, running over it there. That's not exactly what you want to have happen. That is, I believe, is that Ramos or Goulart? Here they come down into turn number 10.
A lot of debris there from that earlier contact. There's actually an entire rear wing. It might have been from Schletz's car that's just hung onto the barriers, but focus forward because here's Spike Kohlbecker, and Robusto wants a piece of the action too. It's Jeremy Fletcher who started this race on the pole, who has lost the lead. He regained it back. He finds himself now at the point with 6 minutes and some change to go, but it's Kohlbecker who wants a piece, and it's Robusto to the outside as well.
They're going to try to sort themselves out. Nice plant at the apex there for Jeremy Fletcher as he just puts a little bit of braking pressure at the apex to back up Spike Kohlbecker. Contact there. Robusto looking down to the inside. Not going to happen. Schweid officially able to catch up to this battle as well, and don't count out Parker DeLong.
Yeah, Max Schweid has played this one really beautifully, letting the 3 drivers ahead of him fight. So too has DeLong. They're now both in the mix. They want to stand on the podium at least. We've seen how quickly these top 3 positions can shuffle. Fletcher is still holding station for the time being, but he's going to have his hands full, I suspect, until the checkered flag.
Yeah, I think so as well. Little bit popping up there as this battle continues to just percolate. We head down to Amanda Busick in pit lane, who has caught up with a dear friend of the broadcast.
DJ, we've been talking all weekend how cool it is that our drivers get to share the track with IndyCar, and because of schedule changes, IndyCar is coming up right after this. I've seen some drivers already arrive to track. Kyle Kirkwood was on his scooter, and now Jack Harvey, IndyCar driver. We'll see him at the Indy 500 this season. And Jack, you were telling me off camera, you've been a part of Support Series. How cool is it for these drivers to experience this?
It's as cool as it is for the IndyCar drivers. I guarantee you, all these drivers right now, they want to be the person who says, I won the first race at the Grand Prix of Arlington.
Well, Jack, we were just saying off camera as well, you're like, this is cool. This is a great race. What are you seeing out there?
Honestly, we've been kind of following this all weekend. It's just these spec series, especially on long straights, they're so inviting for slipstreaming, drafting, and therefore big overtaking in those big braking zones. It's just been super fun to watch. It's an amazing venue. I think the promoters here have set a new standard for street circuits.
Well, thank you for joining us. And you have some work to do. Good time to announce that for SRO America on GT World Challenge and Pirelli GT4, we'll be joining Fox Sports this season.
Even better. We love to hear that.
Thank you, Jack.
Thank you.
Always good to be able to catch up with Jack, one of the best faces to be able to have a chat with in pit lane. As here they go down into the corner, as that was Robusto trying to make a move. You did see on screen Zach Hollingshead able to get by Beltray Curtis for 6th place. Under 5 minutes to go, Jonathan. It is go time.
Yeah, the move from Hollingshead was actually pretty nice. It was very fine margins with the 5 car, but able to do it. See if the 3 can stretch the legs. But up front, you said it, DJ, it's all business. Fletcher holding station for now, but Kohlbecker and Robusto and Schweid have not gone anywhere.
No, they're holding key, holding stead behind as best they can. Not a lot of time left on the clock, though. You're probably looking at 2 laps to go at the line, maybe less, as there's a repass. That's Beltray Curtis down to the inside, but gets it wrong. Hollingshead just able to keep on the straight and narrow, and he'll get that position back.
Those tight corners that switch left, right, left, they're 90 degrees. It can be so easy to overcook things, and overcook your minimum apex speed. You're going to lose a lot of ground and push the car. It's going to understeer on the exit. It's exactly what we saw. Now he's under threat from Sofronis behind, but is Beltray going to use this long straightaway upcoming to his advantage? He might not even wait till then. He's going to have to tuck behind Hollingshead to set up in the brakes under 9, and now he's going to try to use that 0.9 miles to his advantage.
As Jack was saying, the slipstream is so powerful here. I don't think that's a terrible decision here for Beltray Curtis. He'll be able to just tuck in. The only thing I'd be worried about is what that car behind does in the form of Jensen Sofronis. Here's a defensive line from Hollingshead. He knows where that is. Tire debris off to the outside. We saw a couple of drivers run over that not too long ago. Big wiggle over the into the braking zone. It's going to be side by side. Hollingshead to the inside, Curtis to the outside. Curtis has a nose ahead, but preferred line goes to Hollingshead. Still side by side. Haven't sorted themselves out yet.
And look at the run from Sofronis. He realized he was not going to be able to go through with Beltray and got back to the racing line, and now he's got a good run as well.
He does. He gets to pick his lane, and he is picked behind Beltre Curtis. Looks like there's going to be a little bit more of a run here for Hollingshead. Sofronis switches lanes. He now follows in behind Hollingshead, and behind them, that's going to be Ramos able to get a little bit of a tow. This could be a disastrous lap for Beltre Curtis. 3 wide down into 14. Out of it early was Ramos. Sofronis and Curtis side by side.
Yeah, Sofronis had to hold the brakes just a little bit longer to allow Beltre Curtis to hang around the outside and survived. It didn't lose too many positions, but Zach Hollingshead has now got a car length and a half over the 5 car up front, and Ramos has had to go defensive. He keeps his position.
Ethan Goulart also looking to go side by side there. That's with the number 12 machine of Malley, trying to see if there's anything to play there. Doesn't look like there is. They hold out in line.
Really nice move from Ethan Goulart as well. He was under pressure. That could have gone bad very quickly. Kept his composure, held his line firmly, but didn't do anything untowards. Now he switches back, and he's still having to go defensive as we set up for 6.
This is all about that setup for the run down into turn 10. Up the front of the field, by the way, Jeremy Fletcher opening up a 0.7 of a second gap over Kohlbecker, as that is going to be able to hold a good gap for him and could lead him on to the beginning of this race.
Will Robusto has just reset his own fastest lap of the race, a 2:06.405, and crucially, on that last lap, Jeremy Fletcher and Spike Kohlbecker both put in their personal best fastest sectors. It's go time, and they know it.
And speaking of go time here, it is go fast time for Will Robusto, as he has just put in the fastest lap of the race, sitting in 3rd right now. Parker DeLong not able to catch up to the back of this pack necessarily.
Schweid wants that 3rd position so badly. He is just hanging on to the end of that RVA machine.
He's trying to see if there's a little bit of a move. I don't think he's going to be able to get it. I don't think the draft is powerful enough down into turn 12. He's certainly going to think about it.
Teammates as well, DJ, they're going to want to be a little bit more careful. You might leave just a little bit extra margin to not upset the other driver under your own tent that you have to go back to, as we hit 30 seconds or less now on the clock with Fletcher in front.
All right, they're going to come to the line and get that white flag. 1 lap to go for Jeremy Fletcher. He was only a single place off yesterday. Today, he's the one in control of the field. 1 lap from the Grand Prix of Arlington.
Here we go, Jeremy Fletcher with a little bit of a margin, but it's half a second just over. Is that comfortable enough? Because Spike Kohlbecker will be doing everything in his advantage to try to make a move down into turn 10, and he knows it, but Will Robusto will too. Behind, Sofronis has his hands full. It's now a 3-car battle with Zach Hollingshead, and Ramos has joined the party as well. Sofronis to the outside, Hollingshead to the inside, and they're going to be door to door.
Hollingshead had to carry a little less speed to make that apex, but I think Sofronis had to check up, almost getting into the outside wall. Fletcher continues to lead. There we go. Hollingshead to the inside, trying to push. Little bit of contact, little bit of pushing and shoving, and that's going to allow here. Oh, big contact. Hollingshead, big kaboom.
Yeah, that's multiple cars getting in trouble there. Ethan Goulart, the big winner. He's made up a few positions by steering wide and keeping that BSI machine out of harm's way. We stay green for the time being, but significant right-hand side cosmetic damage at the very least to the 3 machine. He got bounced around quite a bit and nearly spun the car. Saved it just a little bit, but it did so by making contact with 2 or 3 other cars, DJ.
Race is not over for the front of the field here. Fletcher, Kohlbecker starting to close in a little bit more. We could see an absolutely bonsai move from Spike Kohlbecker coming down into turn 10. Fletcher certainly thought it was coming. He goes defensive, now fades back to the middle of the track. Kohlbecker not really left with any options. Looks for the crossover. Fletcher holds him off. This is allowed for Robusto to close back in. Here they go through 11.
This is going to be a grandstand finish. Only 2 or 3 places left on this track in this lap to try to make a move.
Here they go. Fletcher's able to hold it off. I don't see an attack coming from Kohlbecker at the moment. There may be a change for the final podium position, though. Schweid gets a good run through turn 12. As here they come down into 14. Looking to the inside for Robusto. Not going to happen. As they come out into 15 and cross over the checkered flag. It is Jeremy Fletcher that takes victory over Spike Kohlbecker, Will Robusto, Max Schweid, Parkered along your top 5.
Oh, now we can all catch our breaths just a little bit. No more than Jeremy Fletcher. Started on pole, lost the lead, had to fight his way back to the front of the field, and did so beautifully. A very mature drive from Fletcher, a great performance from Spike Kohlbecker, who won yesterday, and hats off Will Robusto, solidifying himself in that championship conversation.
Really good stuff. And that's not the only winner from today. The Legends winner, of course, Patrick Brunson, taken 2 for 2 on the weekend. And Amanda, we go down to you for that.
Hey, DJ, yeah, I'm with Toby, and we're coming over to Patrick Brunson's wife because we told the best story yesterday about how meaningful Arlington is to him. And I know you guys went on your first date here. You had your first kiss here. What's this weekend been like for you?
It's been amazing. I mean, just spending this time, just kind of reminiscing because we live in Austin. So we've just been reminiscing over our first date and our first times together. And then I'm just so proud of him because he works so hard. And I think he's amazing.
I know this is going to be a full season effort for Patrick as he races in the Legends Cup. As we said yesterday, this is for drivers 40 and over as they race against himself. Are we going to see you on the road with us?
Absolutely. I won't miss one.
All right. Good luck to Patrick and all of our Legends drivers all season long, guys.
Great stuff there down on pit lane. As always, we love those little stories and love that Patrick is able to be reminiscing with his wife over such a wonderful place as this for the both of them. As there we take a look at this beautiful, beautiful road course. It's been a fantastic series of races, and I believe we leave here today tied on points between Fletcher and Kohlbecker.
Incredible. It's exactly what you want going into one of my favorite race weekends of the year in Sonoma Raceway up in beautiful California, wine country up there in the north part of the state. What a treat.
Yeah, the best place to be for sure. I want to talk about some of the other drivers that we had. I think Robusto had a really good bounce back from yesterday, finishing in that podium position. That's going to boost his confidence. I've got to feel a little bit bad for Zach Hollingshead, that big contact that he had pushing him farther back in the field to 10th. That's not the best run for him, but I think for the likes of Schweid and DeLong, they've got to be happy. As here, we'll take a look at that final finishing order as promised. There's a look at the podium as we run through all of them. Hollingshead in 12th, not the day he would have wanted to have, I think. Great job for Mate Caceres, finishing up in 15th as well.
Big winner there, I think, in that last battle, that little melee, was Ethan Goulart. Got himself into the top 10 for BSI Racing, who was kind of fighting just outside of the top 10 positions before then. Did a nice job of finishing 9th. Eagles Canyon, a decent showing with Malley finishing in 8th as well. Sofronis had a very busy race. I don't think there was a single lap that went by when he wasn't fighting with another car. A very solid 7th place. I'm sure he'll improve on that and be looking for top 5s and maybe even top 3s as the season goes on. Very impressed with that young man. Beltre Curtis, too, had a busy race for Copeland.
Yeah, I mean, this top 10 here was just absolutely fire and brimstone the entire way through. It was great to see. And we take a look back at the highlights of today's race. Starting off in the early morning light, it was Ethan Goulart and Jeremy Fletcher that were able to fight their way up at the front of the field. A little bit of back and forth action there all the way through as turn 10 really observed itself as the best overtaking opportunity. Kohlbecker able to take that run as Patrick Brunson also worked his way up through the field.
Absolutely. I love how racy this track was. It's always difficult, an unknown quantity coming in with a new racetrack, and I think it proved it absolutely delivers. We saw a lot more people get confident in the early part of the lap as well, but everyone coming to blows at that infamous turn 10 now as well. Will Robusto had a busy race. We talked about Sofronis and how busy he was. Beltre Curtis had to do plenty of defending as well. As the race went on, we nearly saw an incident for the 55, and that was right before Ava Schletz stopped things under a yellow when she went into the wall just a little bit earlier. There's Beltre trying to carve his way into the field. He was in the conversation for the top 3, but it was a huge move up the inside for Will Robusto that got him to the point, but that wasn't how the story ended.
No, it wasn't, and that was all precipitated by a yellow flag. Another one coming out here for the big contact coming out of turn 10. That set up another duel to the finish, and where Jeremy Fletcher was able to make this outstanding outstanding move play around the outside of the horseshoe, put him up to the lead. A little bit of spin in the back for the Copeland Motorsport machine. Thankfully didn't bring out the yellow. There's that fender liner that we saw. Weren't sure where that came from, but now we know. Fletcher tried to push his way up ahead, took the white flag. Definitely felt pressure from the back here from Kohlbecker as he tried to make a last-minute move down into turn 10, but that didn't play out as Fletcher, unlike yesterday, will take victory here at the Grand Prix of Arlington, setting him tied for the championship position with Spike Kohlbecker. And I, for one, am very excited to be able to find out what some of these drivers think and how they enjoyed today's racing. And to talk to our winner, we head down to Amanda Busick.
Jeremy, in your first win in Toyota GR Cup will always be here right in Arlington GP with IndyCar drivers lining the pit lane, watching you as you took that checkered flag. You told me that you were racing mad today. How did you use that?
Yeah, I mean, Robusto kind of started bouncing off people pretty early, and then me, I don't know where I went back to, 6th, and I just kind of put my head down. Ethan Copeland had me calming down on the radio, nice little therapy session going down the back straight every lap, telling me just to keep my head held high, and we have a fast car, so just do what I know how to do, put some laps together, take the car to the front, and do what we couldn't do yesterday, unfortunately.
Congratulations to Jeremy Fletcher as we close out weekend 1 for Toyota GR Cup. Guys, as this is a preview of what's coming this season, I can't wait.
You and me both, Amanda. That is absolutely what I love about Toyota GR Cup, coming into a weekend where you don't know what is coming. Well, race fans, we thank you for joining us here at the Grand Prix of Arlington. As we said, we'll be back in 2 weeks' time for the weekend at Sonoma. On behalf of our production team, Amanda Busick and Pit Lane and Jonathan Brace joining me here in the booth. My name is DJ Clark. It's been a pleasure bringing you the racing action here today.